This is Sarah van Schagen with Todd Dwyer on the ReGeneration Roadtrip, and we are just outside of Taos, New Mexico. I'm here with Ron Sciarillo, standing outside his home, which is an Earthship, and you're living right in the middle of a gravel pit. Is that right? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's correct. I came here a few years ago and I met with Mr. Michael Reynolds, the architect, who owns the Greater World Earthship community. And, I got really excited after I completed my internship program, and I really wanted to do more when I finished up my 30-day program with him. And so, I didn't really know where I could fit in because I didn't have any building experience. I was still trying to figure out what these ultimate eco-home designs were all about. I had a pretty good idea after I'd finished the 30 days, but I was really anxious to get involved. But Mike had informed me that there are no more owner builders. And I didn't really want to pay the company to build a home for me because that doesn't really get me involved and help me understand more about how these buildings work. So, but then after I had been here a little bit longer working on another Earthship, I found out about the reclamation gravel pit project that Mr. Reynolds had started in 1994. And so I came out here and I took a look at it and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I like what he's got going on. But I understood that the project had stalled a few years ago, actually about almost 9 years ago. And part of it had to do with city permitting, and the other had to do with the lack of interest from, future homeowners. So I had somehow managed to convince Mike into allowing me to purchase the land and assemble a small crew and help him finish or work into a deeper commitment to this reclamation gravel pit project. So the idea behind it, in 1994 when Mike bought the 633 acres out here, he got this, I believe this is something like 30 acres that's right inside of this really precious place where we've developed the world's largest sustainable community. And Mike is saying that by building 24 homes in this hole that's about 30 feet in the ground, that if we can develop this and reclaim it, and what I mean by reclaiming is 24 homes that are self-sufficient, autonomous designs that require no infrastructure. So the city doesn't see any value in it. The only time the city would see value in this is if they have to run plumbing, water, and sewer lines. All water, sewer, and power lines is what runs the cost up. They're going to have to run, 25 miles to bring power out here. There's no advantage to them, not for 24 houses. Certainly not going to be something they're interested in doing unless they're going to pass that cost on, and it's going to be very pricey. So for very affordable land, we subdivided it, and we put the money, instead of in the land and the taxes and all of that, we put the money into the homes. So the people were actually able to put tens of thousands of dollars back into the buildings. So there are a lot of advantages of doing this. And so ultimately, you can actually see this when you first come into the gravel pit. The entire center is being shaped and sculpted. So the water that comes off the high berms is running to the center. And we're actually planting trees that will come down the entire center of the 30 acres that belongs to this gravel pit.
Wow.
And then you've got homes on both sides. And the way the homes are, they collect water, they store the water. The water that's stored is being used for the home. But the surplus of water that comes in during the monsoon seasons, all that water is overflowing from the homes and feeding the green space that is now becoming bird migration area, where it has been not available anywhere else out of the 633 acres that we own.
Wow.
This is actually, humans are enhancing the natural order of things that no way could Mother Nature do it without us. So here's an opportunity where we can do more productive than destructive in designing and building homes.
And this gravel pit actually exists because they dug it out for the road originally.
Right, this was dug out to extract the resources to build the highway that runs from the city of Taos all the way up to Alamosa up in Colorado. So this was a main artery to join these two states. And of course, once they dug this big hole, they didn't need it anymore. So they don't see the value in it. But what we're trying to do is when these 24 houses are completed, the gravel pit is all reshaped and landscaped, and all this is reclaimed. Now what we're doing, and this is the biggest thing that's more important than the individual homeowners concerned for their own home, is that we have something very valuable that we could take all over the world within about 30 minutes of every major metropolitan city. I'm talking Paris and Rome and London and New York City and all these very, very expensive places to build or buy or live in. Right down the street, there's a big hole in the ground. There's probably a few of them. And so by showing something like this where you can actually display high density urban development, even though we're not like pinched up on up against each other like condominiums, we're still pretty well densely populated in this small area. And then to enhance it further by creating food production, amphitheaters, volleyball courts, basketball courts, a community gathering location from, again, a place that was absolutely worthless and now becomes so valuable that it's adopted all over the world.
So do you think this model is adoptable on a large scale?
It is. You know, it's interesting. I don't know. Somebody told me you could actually Google Earth gravel pits. And it's amazing when you're able to see how many holes are out there all over the planet that they needed these precious materials to build those buildings. So the bigger the city, the bigger the holes are. So if you can just do a little bit of research and take a look at what's going on within the city limits and probably just beyond the city limits, you're going to find this.